I'm just going to zoom in on it. So basically, the article, I'll read the article and then we'll talk a little bit about it, and then you'll have a better understanding of what the assignment is about. Freedom of expression is the cornerstone of democracy, and such is protected by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The Criminal Code of Canada prohibits on inciting hatred against any identifiable group and is one of the limits on the freedom of expression. The role of human rights legislation is to protect people from being treated unfairly and to establish a positive environment for all Canadians. But should human rights commissions cases involving human rights commissions judge cases involving freedom of expression? This question grabbed the public spotlight in the fall of 2007 when Dr. Mohammed Emissary, chair of the Canadian National Chair and National President of the Canadian Islamic Congress, launched a human rights complaint against Maclean's magazine after it published an article entitled "The Future Belongs to Islam" by Mark Stein. In the press release, Emissary stated that its article objects to Muslims to hatred, subjects Muslims to hatred and contempt, and is vaguely Islamophobic. The complaints were filed with the Human Rights Commission in Ontario and British Columbia, as well as the Canadian Human Rights Commission. They sparked much public debate about the Human Rights Commission and freedom of expression. So these are the two sides that have taken the position. Barbara Hall, the Human Rights Commission, criticized Maclean's and Stein, saying, in the media rights, it should exercise great caution that it's not promoting stereotypes that will adversely impact on identifiable groups. I think one needs to be very careful when one speaks in generalities. In that one fact, in fact, one is speaking factually about all people in a particular group. On the other side, you've got Rex Murphy. Commander Rex Murphy represents the perspective of many when he wrote, Maclean should not have to defend himself for doing what his good magazine does, start debate, express opinion, stir thought. And most certainly, it shouldn't have to abide the threatened censorship of any Canadian candidates increasingly interfering, state-appointed and paradoxically labeled Human Rights Commission. Right? So in the article, it says basically, people complained that the article was inherently Islamophobic, right? But Maclean's magazine says I can write any article I want if I'm talking about we're discussing a freedom of expression. So in this, you have two different positions. Barbara Hall says that there should be limits because when you write something in a newspaper article, it may cause people to have a certain opinion. And if you're talking about a group of people as in a generality, it may lead to hatred. Rex Murphy says that's not, no. In a democracy, you should be able to bring up issues that are not popular in order to spark debate and conversation. And you cannot label certain ideas untouchable because they might be controversial. So you have to determine which side of the argument you're on. And again, you're basing this upon the idea of freedom of expression and thought and opinion. And you're saying, can the Human Rights Code are these rights of expression limited? Or can they be limited based upon Section 1? And Section 1 of the Charter is on page 100. And it basically says there's the oak test or three things you have to apply when you limit a right, right? Or when a right violates someone's human rights or freedoms, you are able to do so if it passes the three questions the oak test has. So you have to ask those questions and explain what they mean and say why you think that the freedom of expression to protect the article is more important than the Human Rights Commission's goal to protect human beings from discrimination. All right, does that make sense for everybody? If you're having problems with the test and the Oaks test, you don't know what it is, please come speak to me and we'll review it. Let's see if it's here. Some of the Oaks tests are 3 or 4 questions you ask. Is the reason for limiting the charter right must be shown as important enough to justify overriding a constitutional right? Is there the limit you're putting on the right? Is there a reason for it? Right? Is it Is it enough to justify overriding constitutional protection right? Is it reasonable to put limits on people's freedom of expression if they're promoting things that are unpopular, right? Second thing you would have to ask, there must be a rational connection between limitations of the rights and the objective of legislation. If I have this, if the Human Rights Code says this is not, you can't say these specific things about this group, is there a link between the limiting of the right and the actual power that the board should have? 3, the right must be limited as little as possible, right? Does this limitation, is it contained, right? Are we saying that the McKinsey magazine can say anything about Muslim people? Are we saying the McKinsey magazine can't write anything that's controversial? Or are we saying that that specific article is controversial and therefore we can limit that specific one? And 4, the more severe the rights limitation, the more important the objective must be. So if this is a curtailing of rights, freedom of expression, is the goal of it to prevent Islamophobia? Is it important? If it is important, if you pass all now, if all those questions you pass is yes, 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 that means the Oak test happens and the Interior Human Rights Commission wins. If you think it fails any one of those tests, you're saying the Human Rights Code, the Interior Human Rights Code and Commission does not have sway over the Constitution. Human rights codes are again are codified laws or goals. They're designed to protect people's individual human rights, right? People go to them if they feel they're being discriminated against, or if there's an injustice to them, they would appeal to it. If it's based upon their being singled out because of their race or gender or sexual identity or religion. Here, we're specifically talking about Islamic people of the Islamic faith saying, this article makes it seem evil and may lead to hate crimes. Are there any questions about that? So remember to reread the article on page 135, I believe, and then make sure you understand it. If you're confused or don't get what the article is about, or don't understand either side, please speak to me. Don't wait and just guess. Come to me and say, I don't know what either side is saying. I don't know how to approach it. Okay, any other questions before I stop this recording? Okay.